What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today for another stream of Let's Learn QuickBooks. And in this stream, I am going to continue studying for the QuickBooks Online certification in an effort to become a QuickBooks ProAdvisor. So let's return to where we were at. I'm going to show you guys my screen. And I already have the section opened up. It's banking in tools. This module looks at using bank feeds, matching transactions, and reconciling the bank. Learn how to register for receipt forwarding, add and match receipts, exclude a bank transaction, and create a simple bank rule. You will also learn how to utilize the reconciliation tools and how to use recurring transactions. Okay, so I think this is going to be important information. So let's see how this is. Okay, so let's get started. Banking in tools, as I mentioned, is going to be starting with using bank feeds, best practice bank feed workflows, managing receipts, excluding bank transactions, creating simple bank rules, reconciling the bank, recurring transactions, and module review. So let's get started with using bank feeds. It's 10 minutes long. Purportedly, maybe take me 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Let's check it out. So using, why does it start over here? There's 2 of 8 viewed, weird. But anyway, using bank feeds, the story so far. Craig prefers spending time working directly with his clients and improving his business rather than on hours of data entry in the office. He knows there must be a better way, and he's excited to see how banking in QuickBooks Online can help ensure that all the transactions from his bank and credit accounts match his records in QuickBooks Online. It's important Craig get this right. He needs to make sure all transactions are classified correctly and included in the books. Let's take a look at the basics. How can QuickBooks Online help? It's one of the greatest strengths of QuickBooks Online that bank data can be imported seamlessly and easily matched to existing transactions or used to add new transactions. In fact, the system gives you indications and has tools so that accurate transaction entry is made easy. Let's go. Hey, Debbie. How you doing, sweetheart? Anyway, learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to describe what the for review and review lists show in the banking center. 2. Describe how to match transactions. And 3. Recognize the benefit for clients of using bank feeds. Topics covered include how QuickBooks Online works with bank data, matching bank data, ProAdvisor challenge, and managing banking through the mobile app. So let's continue this lesson. How QuickBooks Online works with bank data. The bank feed functionality in QuickBooks Online is one of its most dynamic features. It links to online banking and credit card accounts and feeds transaction details directly into the banking center, saving your clients time. But they are still in control over what goes into their QuickBooks Online. Transactions are held in a for review area where your clients can match and accept transactions details with what is already recorded in QuickBooks Online, add and accept transactions details to enter a transaction into QuickBooks Online that has not previously been recorded. QuickBooks Online has a smart learning system that learns from bank feed activity. This can minimize and automate over time as you categorize and match transactions. The more you work with it, the more independent the functionality will become. There are the items that appear on the Recognize tab in the Banking Center. For example, repeated transactions with similar bank details will be recognized by bank feed, and a category will be suggested. You are still in control and will get to approve recognized transactions. You can see that a lot of the hard work gets done for you. Watch the video to see how it works, and then let's get hands-on with Craig's bank statement to see how we can help. So, ProAdvisor Tip. The bank feed workflow is where ProAdvisors are invaluable because clients are likely to make mistakes inadvertently. Okay, so let's now watch the video.
QuickBooks Online helps simplify the way you manage your money. We know that manually entering every single digit and detail to reconcile with your financial institution doesn't make for a pleasant experience. That's why we developed our innovative bank feeds feature. And this is how it works. You'll notice that, despite QuickBooks Online talking to all your connected accounts and feeding them directly into the banking center, they won't have been added to your books just yet. That's because you need to check and match up your transactions, making any necessary edits or recategorizing them. Once you're happy with each transaction, you can add them to your books. Now, here's the best bit about bank feeds. Just like a human brain, QuickBooks Online learns faster and becomes smarter the more you use it, enabling it to automatically match your transactions to the same vendor or from the same customer. But don't worry, you'll still be in control over which transactions are added to your books, as you'll need to approve them. Think of it as QuickBooks Online doing the heavy lifting for you. With your accounts connected and QuickBooks Online automating data analysis for you, you'll gain access to more accurate reporting that displays what your business is making and spending through up-to-date snapshots, and be able to focus on building stronger client relationships and growing your business without having to worry about updating and accessing your financial books. Make the most of QuickBooks Online with bank feeds.
Okay, so that's important information. The bank feeds will not be posted to your books until you approve it. So something to take note of. So let's continue with this lesson. Lesson check. How do you think Craig can benefit from connecting his bank and credit card accounts to QuickBooks Online? So let's read the potential answers. All of his bank and credit card transactions will be synced into QuickBooks Online without him having to enter them. That sounds right. He can check, categorize, and prove each bank transaction to make sure it's correct so he has full control. That sounds right. All of his bank and credit card transactions will be added to his QuickBooks Online automatically without him needing to do anything. I don't think that's correct, because we just watched it and it seemed to indicate that no, there is some action that is required on your part. So the next potential answer is it will save him time because it will cut down on the amount of data he needs to enter. I think that sounds correct. Let's check our answers. That's right. All of these are benefits of connecting QuickBooks Online to online bank and credit card accounts. Okay, let's keep it moving. Matching bank data. Okay, so first we're going to read the notes, the steps, and then we'll watch the video. Craig's already set up bank feeds for his checking, savings, and MasterCard accounts. He just needs to review the transactions. When you match and accept a bank feed item to an existing transaction in QuickBooks Online, it marks the transaction as cleared. When you do a bank reconciliation, this means that most transactions are already marked as cleared. It's a big help when you come to reconciliations. Okay. You may find it helpful if you have your client's bank statement to hand. So it might be helpful if you have your client bank statement to hand, maybe it means on hand, so you can compare it to the data that you imported. Watch the video to see how it's done. The individual steps are below for you to follow. Changes in the UI may not be reflected in the video. So let's read the steps. It's a lot of steps actually. Holy cow. Okay, so I'm not going to read these steps because I think it'll be better just to watch it.
On the left navigation, select Banking to see
Banking.
Craig's banking data. You'll see 3 tabs. for review,
reviewed,
and excluded. You can see the transactions Craig has already reviewed in the Reviewed tab. Now let's head over to the For Review tab, which shows the bank feed items that have not yet been accepted into QuickBooks Online and that we need to review, edit if necessary, and match and add, or accept and add when we're happy. Now let's match a transaction. As you can see, Craig already has transactions in his bank feed. There's a check deposit of $228.75 for Hicks Hardware.
Right here.
The date, description, and amount come in from the bank feed. There's a match, so go ahead and select Match. You can do the same for the transaction with Travis Waldron for $103.55. This time, it is for an income received item from Travis Waldron. Select the Reviewed tab to see that it's been matched. If you then select the Travis Waldron payment, you can see details of the match by selecting Online Banking Matches. You can see the link and unmatch it if you need to. Select the X to return to the bank feed. Sometimes QuickBooks Online finds duplicate records for an entry. When you have a transaction with two potential matches, you need to confirm which transaction is correct. Let's take a look at this one for Squeaky Clean Car, where two records have been found. The bank feed is for 08/27/2019. The check debit has the same date, so this is the correct match for the bank feed entry. Select Match. QuickBooks Online is all about making life easy. You can use the Recognize tab to see all the transactions QuickBooks thinks it has found a good match for, then match them all in one go. Select the Recognize tab. Use the Select All button and move to the Batch Actions drop-down button. Choose Accept Selected to link all the downloaded transactions. Select the Reviewed tab to see these have been accepted.
All right. So let's move it on. Continue moving on. Okay. So ProAdvisor Challenge. Now you've seen how easy it is to match transactions in Craig's bank feed. Why not try it out for yourself? Craig got some transactions for review. He'll need to tidy these up before he can reconcile this account. Select the headings to find out more. Match Craig's banking transactions for Pie's Cake, Dylan's Soul Frank. So let's go ahead and do that by clicking that link. So now I recall from the video, you go to banking, click that. For review, what does it need to be reviewed? Pie's Cake, Dylan's Soul Think. So let's find it where that is. Pie's Cake, there's one. Dylan's Soul Think. Where's Dylan's Soul Think? Dylan's Soul Think. So let's do that. We just have to hit match. It's matched. Dylan's Soul Think matched. Perfect. Now, how did you do? Find out how you got on in the challenge by taking a look at the reviewed items in the bank feed. Okay, so where's the reviewed? Right here. Select the banking option from the left-hand navigation menu to view the bank feed. Wait, select the banking option from the left. Okay, select the reviewed. Okay. So yeah, looks like we're good. 82, 33, 37. Yep, we're good. Okay. ProAdvisor Tip, and this is how you would do it. Complete that action. ProAdvisor Tip, Craig's Landscaping is the QuickBooks Online test drive. It's designed for you to explore and try out new things without worry that you will break something or make a mistake. Once you close this QuickBooks Online test drive company, it is completely refreshed. So please remember to allow sufficient time to complete each activity. Don't worry if you have to close the test drive before you finish. You can always begin again. Okay. Managing banking through the mobile app. Clients can perform most of their banking via the QuickBooks Online mobile app. This is a great tool when they're on the move or short on time. They can record expenses and receipt images on the go. ProAdvisor Tip. You will probably use the app yourself. Even if you don't, you should know how it works so you can educate clients and be able to answer any questions they have. Try downloading it from the App Store or Google Play to try it out yourself. Okay, continue lesson. Lesson check. Where can you see a list of banking transactions that have been accepted into QuickBooks Online? Okay. I would say it's for review. Let's check if that's the answer. No, it's not the answer. No, the review tab shows you all transactions from your bank fee transactions, but they're not in QuickBooks Online. Oh, so review then. There we go. That's right. Once you match or add bank fee transactions to transactions, they are accepted into QuickBooks Online and appear in the reviewed tab. Okay, next. Nice recap. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you've learned how to describe what the for review and reviewed lists show in the banking center, describe how to match transactions, and recognize the benefits for clients of using bank feeds. Next steps. In the next lesson, you will find out how to follow best practice workflows for smooth banking and easy reconciliations. Next lesson. How long did that take me? 15, 16 minutes. Not too bad. But let's move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is best practice bank feeds workflows. The story so far. The story so far. With your expert coaching, Craig has been following best practice workflows for all his customer and vendor transactions. Bank feeds is where this all comes together as the last piece of the jigsaw slots into place. Okay. Let's see how you can guide Craig to follow best practice here. How can QuickBooks Online help? The more you use QuickBooks Online banking, the better it gets at identifying matches for bank transactions to QuickBooks Online transactions. But for the ones that don't have a match, you can easily add them straight from the banking center. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to recognize best practice workflows for bank feed transactions. Topics. Best practice bank feeds workflows, manually adding transactions, bank feed FAQ, and ProAdvisor challenge. So let's continue. Best practice bank feed workflows. Craig's been doing a great job at following the best practice sales and vendor workflows that you learned about in Module 3 and 4. This means that his bank feed is in great shape. When he reviews his bank feed, for the most part, he wants to match transactions. This way, he is linking the bank feed item to a transaction that's already in QuickBooks Online. Once he's done this, there might be a few left over that QuickBooks Online can't find a match for. This could be an expense or deposit he hasn't recorded and isn't posted in QuickBooks Online already. There he can go ahead and add directly from his bank feed. This will create a new posting transaction in QuickBooks Online right there on the spot. So let's take a look at this process flow. So 1, match sales transactions, verify existing sales activity has cleared by matching transactions to the bank feed. Sales receipt, invoice payment, deposit. Okay. Expense transactions, verify existing expense activity has cleared by matching transactions to the bank feed. Expense, check, bill payment. Okay. Add the remaining transactions with bank downloads. This will create a new transaction in QuickBooks Online. Okay. Continue lesson. manually adding transactions. Let's take a look at how you could help Craig to manually add more items from the bank feed into QuickBooks Online. So I'm going to focus on the video rather than reading it.
As before, from within Craig's QuickBooks Online account, select For Review to go back to the banking screen. Select the entry for $18.08. The entry will expand, and you'll see the transaction details, but you need to categorize this expense. It's currently marked as an uncategorized because the bank wouldn't know how to categorize it. Select the first drop-down list and scroll down to select Advertising. Now select Add to commit this to QuickBooks Online. You can also group transactions together. Craig has 3 entries under a rental. Select the check boxes for all 3 entries. Select Batch Actions and choose Accept Selected. You can see all of the added transactions in the Reviewed tab. Pretty neat.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's close this out and keep it moving. Continue lesson. Bank feed FAQ. Okay, this looks like great stuff to take note of. So, bank feeds FAQ. Remember that by coaching your clients in best practice workflows from the outset, you are helping set them up for success. But sometimes they get muddled and phone you in a panic. Let's take a look at some of the common mistakes they make so you can help guide them back to the road to success. Select the questions to find out more. Why is there a duplicate transaction? Let's find out. Let's write this down. Why is there a duplicate transaction? Instead of matching to an existing transaction, they added one, and this created identical transaction for the same amount. ProAdvisor Tip: always match first and check all bank and credit transactions to make sure transaction is not hidden someplace else. Once that has been confirmed, add is the second option. So I'm going to make a copy of that note. Screen clipping. Okay. Why are my invoices still outstanding? Okay. Instead of using the correct sales workflow, which would be to receive a payment against the appropriate customer open invoice, they just add a new deposit in the bank feed. Instead of using the correct, let me read that again. Instead of using the correct sales workflow, which would be to receive a payment against the appropriate customer open invoice, they just added a new deposit in the bank feed. This caused 2 issues: open balance on invoice, duplicate income deposit. ProAdvisor Tip: they should have followed the correct sales workflow, which would have been receive payment against the invoice and save the deposited amount to undeposited funds. Record the deposit transaction based on what actually was deposited into the bank. Match the bank fee deposit to the actual QuickBooks Online deposit transaction. Okay. So let's copy this. Boom. Perfect. So, let's see. Save. Okay. They should have followed the correct sales workflow, which is receive payments against the invoice and save the deposited amount to record. Okay. Why are my expenses getting duplicated? Let's write this down. Why are my expenses getting duplicated? Okay, so let's read that. Instead of matching checks through banking with expenses already entered as checks in QuickBooks Online, they added new expenses through bank feeds. ProAdvisor Tip: they should have followed the correct expense workflow, which is to create a check expense in QuickBooks Online and match the bank feed check transaction to the QuickBooks Online check expense. Okay. So next FAQ is, why do I still have transactions in the bank feed that are not matching with my transactions in QuickBooks Online? So they most likely typed a date incorrectly in the original QuickBooks Online transaction, and the transactions are not getting automatically found or recognized in the bank feed. ProAdvisor Tip: select Find Match to locate the transaction to use. Okay, so oops, I should have made a copy of that. So let's go ahead and do that. Screenshot. Okay, grab that. Now the next FAQ is, do I need to manually enter prior period transactions, expenses, and deposits if I have not used QuickBooks Online before? Do I need to manually enter prior period transactions and deposits? It's time consuming to enter a year's worth of historical checks and deposits using the transactions form. ProAdvisor Tip is the simple way to recreate prior period accounting data for your client's QuickBooks Online file is to link your client's QuickBooks Online to their bank account and select appropriate period range, or perform a manual bank import for the exact period you are creating in QuickBooks Online. Then select Add for each one of the transactions from the bank feed to create the transactions in their QuickBooks Online. Correctly categorizing income and expense transactions is key to making certain the prior period data is accurate and ready for the client's review. So let's take a screenshot of that FAQ. And let's continue the lesson. Take our ProAdvisor challenge. Take our ProAdvisor challenge and check your understanding of what you've covered in this lesson. The challenge: you are reviewing your client Craig's bank feed to match or add all his transactions to his QuickBooks Online transactions. There's an uncategorized expense for $185 that QuickBooks Online hasn't found a match for. Help Craig tidy this up by categorizing it as gas and electric, and then manually adding it to his QuickBooks Online. Okay. Okay, let's go to banking. And what was it? Expense. Okay. For review, we're looking for $185. Spent $185 should be here, I would imagine. There it is. It's uncategorized, so we need to update that. Gas and electric is going to be the category. So let's take a look here. I'm going to add that or save that. How do we do that? Okay, where did it go? $185. Okay. Now what? And then manually adding it to QuickBooks Online. Okay, then we just hit add. Now it's been added. Created a new entry for that. How did you do? You can check if you got it right by selecting the Review tab from the Banking Center. You should be able to see the transaction for Chin's Gas has been added to expense, utilities, gas and electric. Okay. This is what we did. So we're good to go there. Lesson check. Craig calls up with a problem. You can see a duplicate transaction for some job materials he bought at Hicks Hardware. What might have caused this? So let's read the answers. Instead of adding the transaction from his bank feed, he matched it. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like what he's supposed to be doing. Instead of matching the transaction from his bank feed, he added it. That sounds right, but let's continue looking at the other potential answers. He added the transaction twice from his bank feed. Possible, but I don't think that's the answer. There's no way this could have happened. QuickBooks Online will check it's a unique entry. I don't think that's the answer neither. Let's check my answer. That's right. By adding the transaction from his bank feed instead of matching it to an existing transaction, he created identical transactions for the same amount. ProAdvisor tip: always match first. Check all bank and credit card transactions to make sure transaction is not hidden someplace else. Once this has been confirmed, add is the second option. Okay, hit next. To recap, learning outcomes well done. In this lesson, you learn how to 1. Recognize best practice workflows for bank feed transactions. Okay, so best practice is match first, then add. So let's save that. Next lesson, we'll zoom out because I'm curious to see where we're at exactly. It is reported that this should be only 5 minutes long to complete this section. Maybe it'll take me 10 to 20 minutes. We'll find out. Okay, let's see where we're at. A little bit over 30 minutes. Okay. Managing receipts. Let's resume the lesson. Or next lesson. Managing receipts. The story so far. As a busy electrician, Chris Greer often stops by to buy materials on his way to a job. As a result, the glove box in his van is full of discarded receipts. This causes him and Lisa a real headache when they try to track all his business expenses. How can QuickBooks Online help? Keeping track of receipts is a common problem among business owners of all sizes. Too often, tax season or an audit will come around and clients will turn to their shoebox full of receipts. Instead of keeping physical copies in drawers or car glove boxes, receipts can be uploaded and stored in QuickBooks Online. Receipts can be uploaded as PDF, JPEG, GIFs, or PNG files and can then be logged or matched to existing transactions within the banking center. Okay, so learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to 1. Describe how to register for receipt forwarding. 2. Describe how to review, add, and match receipts. Topics covered include the receipt workflow, setting up receipt forwarding, uploading receipts, snapping receipts via the mobile app, and reviewing, matching, and adding receipts. Let's continue the lesson. The receipt workflow. Logging receipts and matching them to transactions is similar to the banking workflow and can be viewed within the banking center. There are 3 ways to capture receipts so they can be matched to transactions and added to the bank feed. Forwarded by email. If your receipts have been generated or sent to you via email, you can set up QuickBooks Online to recognize your email address and forward your receipts directly to QuickBooks Online account. To do this, you will need to set up an address for email forwarding within the Receipts tab of the Banking Center. Once your mail has been set up, you can forward receipts as attachments if you want to forward several at once or within the body of an email if you're forwarding only 1 receipt per email. So set up forwarding, register your email to get started, send receipts to QuickBooks. ProAdvisor tip: receipts can be uploaded as PDF, JPEG, GIF, or PNG files. Let's look at the next tab. Direct file upload. If you have receipts stored on your computer already, whether they have been downloaded from an email as an attachment or scanned directly into your files, you can drag and drop these receipts directly into QuickBooks Online. There is a Dropbox on the Receipts tab for ease of access to this functionality. Okay, and it looks like this. View the mobile app. The QuickBooks Online mobile app is especially handy for small receipts like cafe receipts or car transactions in stores. Simply open the app, take a snapshot of the receipt, and the file will be uploaded to your account. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Snap on mobile, get the app, mobile number, send link, messages, data may apply. And that's it for that slide. OCR, Optical Character Recognition. No matter which method you use, when QuickBooks receives a receipt and the file has fully loaded, the image will be scanned by OCR. The OCR technology scans the information on the receipt and extracts the necessary data to build a transaction record. You'll be able to check this information and amend it where necessary before accepting and adding the transaction in the same manner you would check and match a transaction within the bank feed. ProAdvisor Tip, QuickBooks Online, same stuff. Same thing I said in the previous slide. Okay. So continue lesson. Setting up receipts forwarding. Chris is excited to find out about the receipt capture feature in QuickBooks Online and can't wait to get started. He has collected some receipts and is ready to enter them. Besides the paper receipts he has retrieved from his van, he also has an email receipt sent to him by his virtual assistant. Let's take a look at how we can get Chris set up with a receipt forwarding. So we're just going to watch the video rather than following the steps for now.
In order to begin receipt forwarding, Lisa must first have enabled her email address within Chris's QuickBooks Online. To begin, navigate to the Banking Center, then select Receipts at the top of your screen. Select Register your email to get started. QuickBooks will automatically register the company email address linked to the account in Account and Settings. If Chris needed Lisa to set him up for this function too so that he can add his own receipts, she could add an additional sender to his list of accepted emails. To do this, select Manage Senders. Chris's email is already connected to his QuickBooks Online because this is the one he signs in with. To add him, simply set the toggle button next to his name to green. And just like that, Chris is all set up. Both he and Lisa can forward any electronic or scanned receipts to his account by emailing receipts@quickbooks.com. When emailing receipts, you can include multiple receipts in the same email, so long as they are separate attachments. QuickBooks can only recognize one receipt at a time when they are sent in the body of the email rather than as an attachment.
Okay. Let's continue the lesson. Uploading receipts. So that was setting up receipt forwarding. Now, uploading receipts. You can also upload receipts from your computer by snapping a picture of them on your smartphone using the free QuickBooks Online mobile app. Chris paid his virtual assistant, Woo Virtual Assistants, $150 to help him set up his new business. He has already downloaded the PDF receipt and needs to add it to the QuickBooks Online account. So let's watch that video.
Make sure you have the file location open on your desktop so that you can easily access the file. In QuickBooks Online, navigate to the Banking Center within Chris's account. Select Receipts. Drag and drop the file from the folder it's stored in to the Dropbox within the Receipts tab. Be aware that it may take up to 15 minutes for QuickBooks to process the file and for it to show as ready in the account.
Okay. Terrific. Let's continue with the lesson. Snapping receipts via the mobile app. Chris is delighted that he can just snap a photo of his receipts on his phone, and when he's out on a job, he has a cafe receipt he'd like you to add to his account. Let's take a look at how you can add this to his QuickBooks Online. Okay, so So let's just watch this video.
First, open the mobile app on the device. Select the plus button and select Receipt Capture. The app will link to and open the camera on his phone. Note that QuickBooks frames the receipt so that you can make sure you capture all of the information needed, including the date, merchant name, and amount. Once satisfied, tap the Capture button on the device. You will have the opportunity to review the image before saving it. If everything looks okay, select Save. QuickBooks uses optical character recognition (OCR) technology to read and transform the data to QuickBooks. The app also uploads the image of the receipt directly into QuickBooks Online. You can only process one receipt at a time in this way. The OCR function cannot identify more than one receipt on an image at a time.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Reviewing, matching, and adding receipts. Reviewing, matching, and adding receipts. Once QuickBooks Online has processed the receipts, Chris is ready to add them on QuickBooks Online. So let's watch this video.
Return to the Receipts tab via the Banking Center. The receipts entered are now visible in the For Review tab. If QuickBooks finds an expense already entered in QuickBooks, it will suggest that you match the receipt to the existing transaction. Where QuickBooks is unable to find a match, you can manually add a transaction. Select Review from the action column. The receipt and existing details will load for you to amend as appropriate. You will be able to assign a payee, bank credit account, payment date, account category, description, amount, and memo to the transaction. QuickBooks will fill in the fields it can using OCR technology. Select Save to confirm and close the transaction. Select Add to move the transaction into the QuickBooks register. QuickBooks automatically includes the image of the receipt with the transaction. If the receipt is for a new expense, the Save button will be replaced with a Create Expense button, and the expense will automatically be added.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the next slide. Lesson check. Your client has taken a photo of a receipt via the mobile app for a new expense. They haven't yet entered the transaction into QuickBooks Online. Taken a photo of receipt. What should they do next? Go to the Review tab for receipts. Go to the Review tab in the bank feed. Manually enter the transaction in the bank feed. I would say that. That's right. The app has loaded the transaction into QuickBooks Online for you to make sure all of the information has been pulled through, or to add further information, you could head to the For Review tab in the Receipts by selecting Add. Okay. Summing up, learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, you've learned how to 1. Describe how to register for receipt forwarding, and 2. Describe how to review, add, and match receipts. ProAdvisor Tip. In the next lesson, we'll take a look at when and why you might need to exclude a transaction from the bank feed and how to do this. Interesting. Yes, it is, Debbie. It's very cool and very functional. I do agree with that. It makes it very easy to do. So, let's see how much time we got here. "24 minutes. We've been running about 45 minutes. I think we have time for at least one more, and that will be excluding bank transactions. So, let's get started. But let's take a look what's next. Excluding one more, maybe two. Excluding bank transactions. The story so far. Now, Craig's got the hang of working with the bank feeds and can add transactions that aren't already in QuickBooks Online. He's amazed at how helpful the matching feature is. But guess what? He's found some transactions that aren't a match and he doesn't want to add them. How can QuickBooks Online help? Managing transactions from an online bank feed takes patience and knowledge, and QuickBooks Online makes it easy and straightforward. Learning outcomes in this lesson, you'll learn how to 1. Describe when and how to exclude a bank transaction. Topics: when to exclude transactions, how to exclude a transaction, and reinstating excluded transactions. Let's continue lesson. When to exclude transactions. Excluding a transaction means removing it from the bank feed and not recording it in your QuickBooks Online register. A good example of when you might want to do this would be if the bank feed brought in a duplicate transaction that has already been added in QuickBooks Online. This may happen if you import transactions but are current on your reconciliations. The banking feature does not match imported transactions against transactions that have already been reconciled. To exclude a transaction for Craig from the For Review tab, select the checkbox to the left of the date for the transactions you want to exclude. Once you're done, select the Batch Actions drop-down arrow and select Exclude Selected. The transactions move to the Excluded tab. You can see what you've excluded in the Excluded tab. These transactions haven't been added to QuickBooks Online, so they won't appear in any account registers or report. Excluding and reconciliation. Excluding is about avoiding errors. The goal of reconciliation is to prove that the transactions in the register match the transactions that have been cleared on the bank statement. If a duplicate transaction is imported into the register will not reconcile with the bank statement. This will result in incorrect financial reports. But what if you accidentally exclude a transaction and would like to include it? Again, 1. Choose banking from the left navigation bar. 2. Select the Excluded tab. 3. Select the checkboxes for the transactions you'd like to include again. 4. Select the Batch Actions drop down arrow, select Undo, and it will bring the selected transactions back into the For Review tab for you to work with. You can then add, categorize, or match and accept the transactions. Let's continue the lesson. How to exclude a transaction. Craig has been working on his bank feed and he's noticed 2 transactions from Squeaky Clean Car Wash that cancel each other out. An accidental duplicate payment made in May was returned in August. As no goods were exchanged, Craig has asked that these be removed from his bank feed. Because errors in the bank feed like these will affect future reconciliations, you can exclude these transactions for him. So let's watch the video.
Select Banking from the left-hand menu. There are 2 transactions for Squeaky Clean Car Wash in the For Review tab. They are for the same amount on the same day, suggesting this is a duplicate transaction. Select the checkbox next to each of these transactions. Use the Batch Actions drop-down to select Exclude Transactions. The transactions have now been removed from the For Review tab in the bank feed. Select the Excluded tab to see these transactions. From here, you can manage them further if you need to.
Okay. Look at that again.
Select Banking from the left-hand menu. Key Clean. They are for the same amount on the same day, suggesting this is a the Excluded tab to here.
I don't know why it doesn't look like they cancel each other out over here, but okay. Let's continue lesson. Reinstating excluded transactions. If you excluded a transaction that you later require in the bank feed, you can easily reinstate it. Let's take a look at the video.
Return to the banking center. Select the Excluded tab. Select the transactions you wish to reinstate. Using the Batch Actions dropdown, select Undo. Select the For Review tab to see your transactions back in the bank feed.
All right, perfect. Let's continue this lesson. Lesson check. Which is the best example from those shown here of when you might need to exclude some transactions from a bank feed? Your bank mistakenly imports transactions more than once when first set up. Maybe. Let's read the next answer. You have transactions that are personal expenses which you don't want to include in your accounts. That sounds right. But let's check the answer. That's not right. So I was wrong. All transactions that clear the bank account should be added to the register in QuickBooks Online to ensure proper reconciliation with the bank statement. So looks like everything has to be added. Okay. So this is the answer. Check my answers. Okay. So, but let's look at that. That's right. The best example is if your bank mistakenly imports transactions more than once. If this happens, your statement won't match the already reconciled transactions. So you'd need to identify and exclude any duplicates. Okay. Got that. So let's continue. Well done. In this lesson, you learn how to describe when and how to exclude a bank transaction. Next, we'll help Craig see how bank rules can help speed up things even more. All right, next lesson, banking rules. Let's see if you can get this done really quick if you can, and we'll be done for tonight. So, creating simple bank rules. The story so far, Craig wants to make it easier to manage the transaction he imports from his bank into QuickBooks Online. He's heard that he can set up rules so bank transactions can be fast-tracked by being automatically categorized and assigned to payees. This automation will save him time so he could use running his business. Let's hope you're up to speed with this because he'd like your help setting up some bank rules. How can QuickBooks Online help? Matching and adding transactions from a bank feed is pretty straightforward and an important part of keeping Craig's bank QuickBooks Online registers in line with the activity recorded by his bank. In this lesson, we'll look at how setting up a simple bank rule can allow QuickBooks Online to take the strain and help manage transactions automatically. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, you'll learn how to 1. Identify when to create a simple bank rule. Topics about bank rules, creating a rule, and ProAdvisor challenge. So let's continue this lesson. About bank rules. Bank rules automate the categorization of the transactions on the bank feed, including assignment of the transaction type, category, payee, class, and location. They can also be used to automatically split transactions. Rules can be prioritized over other rules, copied, edited, and exported. You can even create blank rules to automatically add transactions to the register. Let's continue the lesson. Creating a rule. Now, let's take on the challenge Craig has set up to set up a simple bank rule just so he can see how it's done. He'd like QuickBooks Online to automatically categorize his equipment rental expense. So let's watch that.
Open banking from the left navigation. We're in the banking center now, so select the Rules tab at the top,
right here,
just above the details about Craig's checking account. Select New Rule. Add a description. Make it a rental, and this rule is for money out in all bank accounts. Add a condition. Select Bank Text from the first dropdown. Select Contains from the second dropdown. Type a rental in the final box. This means that anything with a rental in the text of the transactions will qualify for our rule. Make transaction type equal expense. This means that the rule will create an expense transaction. Select the payee. Select Add New and type a rental. Select the category. Make it equipment rental. Now select Save. Now go back to the banking tab and select the A rental transactions for $800 and one.
Again.
Make it equipment rental.
Okay.
Now select Save. Now go back to the banking tab and select the A rental transactions for $800 and $1,200. Notice that it has a rule icon attached to it now. You'll see the transactions for A rental have been categorized as per the rule we just set up. Select Add to add the transactions to QuickBooks Online.
All right, so that's done. Let's continue lesson. ProAdvisor challenge. Now you've seen how easy it is to create a simple bankroll. Why not try it out for yourself in Craig's landscaping? Craig often buys promotional mugs from Mahoney Mugs. He would like to categorize purchases from Mahoney Mugs as promotional materials. Can you show him how this is done? Select the question heading to find out more. So the challenge: set a bankroll for purchases from Mahoney Mugs to categorize these transactions as promotional. So let's open Craig's QuickBooks Online. We go over to banking, rules, new rule. Looks different from what we just saw. Export rules, import rule, new rule. So, what do we want to call this? I don't know. Mahoney Mug Promotions. Apply this to transactions that are, what is this? Money out in all bank accounts and include the following: description, contains, let's say, Mahoney Mug. Then assign transaction type, expense, category, promotion. Where is promotion? I guess that would fall under advertising. And payee. Where's Mahoney? I don't know. But let's take a look at this. Check your work. You can check you created the rule correctly by taking a look at the Rules tab in the Banking Center. Any transactions for Mahoney Mugs in the Banking Center should have the promotional rule visible in the category column in the Banking Center. But let's take a look at how it's supposed to be done. If you did not get the same results, you have to go. Have another go following these steps. Okay, new rule, add a description. Mahoney Mugs. Well, not close enough, but in all bank accounts, add a condition. Select, we're gonna add a condition. Let's see. Add a condition. Select bank text. Select contains. Okay. Mahoney Mugs. All right. Make transaction type equal expense. Yes, that's already true. Select the pay Mahoney mugs. I don't see Mahoney mugs here, but I guess we could add Mahoney. There it is. Okay. Select the category, make it promotional. I don't see it here, but I guess we could have just typed it in. Promotional. There we go. Now select save. Now go back to the banking tab and select the Mahoney Mugs transaction for $18.08. Notice that the roll icon attached to it is now something that got cut off. But let's go ahead and go to banking. All right. Let's close that. Go away, please. So rule. Nice. So ProAdvisor tip. Craig's landscaping is the QuickBooks Online test drive. It's okay. So we already read that before. Lesson check. If a transaction meets the criteria of multiple rules, which will be applied. I think it's the one listed first. So yep, that's right. When multiple rules apply to a new transaction, the first rule will be the rule that will be applied. Okay. So next, summing up, learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, you learn how to 1. Identify when to create a simple bank rule. ProAdvisor tip. On the rules screen, select automatically add to my books if you want the rule to automatically record transactions that meet the defined criteria without having to select the button in the For Review tab. Transactions that have been automatically recorded by a rule will have a green rule icon next to them in the QuickBooks tab. So let's hit next lesson, but we're going to pull out because we are done for tonight. That's 18 minutes. That's a little bit long, and we're already running at over an hour. So we're done for tonight. Thank you everyone for joining me today to go over some QuickBooks and the QuickBooks Online certification. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, feel free to hit that like, hit that notification bell, and hit that subscribe button. All right, guys. So stay hustling out there. Work hard, work smart, and have a good one, guys. Bye.